What's happening, everybody? Uh, the stream was supposed to happen right now at 4 p.m. I'm a little bit early. I hit you guys up on this. We're going to talk about what a great fight we had over this weekend. Jamel Charlo versus Ryan Castaño. And we're going to talk about this fight. And for those of you out there, once again, what you need is a channel that talks boxing. We also talk about God, so I'll talk a little bit about God for a brief moment of time. But really want to talk about this fight, and hopefully you guys can also, if you want to, join as guests on here, show your face, and we can have a little rapport. We can have a little talk session here. You guys can jump on. And now let me just give you guys a little warning here. My feed might actually stop or things can happen because I have a very simple phone. And this phone does not stream like the quality that I had before. I hope to get a better phone in time so they can stream better. But this will have to do, and we will try our best with what we have. I invite each and any one of you guys to hop on this program. If you don't want to hop on as a guest, you can also participate in the chat section. But we're going to get into Jamel Charlo versus Brian Castaño. I am what you need. If you guys don't know what my channel is or who I am a fan just like you guys. I do a little bit of boxing. When I mean I do boxing, I don't mean I professionally box or anything as yet. I hope to do a fight by the end of this year if COVID works out and things die down. But in the meantime, I do a little bit of training. It's not tremendous training or anything. I am 46 years of age, so I'm kind of advanced in age, but I do want to do at least one or two pro fights because I believe that if you don't do boxing, you really don't really have a place to talk about it. That's my personal opinion. You don't have to believe me. I don't think you can teach anybody anything in boxing if you haven't done it yourself. And I just think that you have to walk the road in anything, whether it's you're a teacher, whether it is you're somebody doing science or something and teaching people science. Whatever you're trying to do to relate to people, I think you have to walk it. And that's what I try to do my best as a fan. My name is What You Need. My real name is Anson Phillip. I have another channel. It's called Christ I Am Disciple that does movies and sort of reviews movies. So you can go check that one out. Again, we always talk about God. We keep God center and front in everything. So I'm going to start off with a piece of scripture. Not saying I'm the best Christian in the whole wide world, none of that. I keep my focus on God. So we're going to start off with 2 Corinthians chapter 15. And basically, I'm going to just read one verse of it that I think is very important. And it goes like this. Listen to me, Asa. Asa was the king of Israel. Listen, all you people of Judah and Benjamin. The Lord will stay with you as long as you stay with him. Whenever you seek him, you will find him. But if you abandon him, he will abandon you. That's it. And I just wanted to read that for you guys because in the context of life, there's so much I would love to share with you guys. I do a lot of farming now. I do a lot of not farming but planting, and as a result of that, I've learned so much just from nature itself. And basically, this particular thing that I'm talking about is that nobody really knows what or who God is. Okay, nobody really knows that, like on Earth. What I mean by that is, you know, uh, God is not human. You know, the representation of God, the face of God, is a human, but God is not human. All right. Now, having said that, the best way we as human beings can relate with God is sort of in a human relationship way. That's why Jesus came to earth to share with us the relationship way God wants to relate with us. So here in Second Chronicles chapter 15, verse 2, here is a relational thing here so people can understand God. Basically, if I were to be real with you guys, God's saying, I'm going to ride with you if you ride with me. Once you're riding with me, I'll ride with you. But if you're not riding with me, I'm not riding with you. You abandon me, I'll abandon you. Whatever you do to me, I'll do back to you. Okay? And that's basically karma, yin yang. And that is nature itself. That is the way nature works. If you treat nature bad, it'll treat you back bad, right? Whatever you put into something is what you get out of it, right? So this is a basically a natural law, if you think about it. And I wanted to share that with you guys because a lot of times, a lot of us say, well, what did I do? I didn't do anything wrong in life. Rule number one, life owes you nothing. Life owes you nothing. Rule number two, whatever you make of life is what it will be. Let's take 2 Corinthians 15:2 again. If you rock with me, I'll rock with you. If you abandon me, I'll abandon you. That's life. If you apply yourself to shape the life you're given in the direction that is positive, you'll get positive results. You shape it in a negative direction, you'll get negative results. However, just understand this. Understand that a positive result doesn't mean that you're immune from also negative results inside of there. You must be able to see what it is that you input it into there to see the positive result. It's not necessarily immediate. It may be in parts. Understand, understand these things. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, a piece of scripture that I read 2 days ago and sort of reminded of today. And I wanted to share it with you guys. All right. Chop. Let's get into what we're going to talk about today. Oh, by the way, everything in life, remember this, everything in life is reversible. Everything. Always remember that. Everything in life is reversible. So even if you screw up, there is a situation where that can be unscrewed up and you can move forward. I don't care if it's health. I don't care if it's death and life. I don't care if it's a situation where you're in debt or whatever it is. Everything in life is reversible. It's how you dedicate yourself to it. And to a high extent, if you dedicate yourself, let's say to God, and you decided, okay, I want him in my life, I want him to lead, then that changes the situation and reverses everything. And right now, I'm in the process in the back with planting and farming of reversing a certain series of things that has happened. Termites are attacking a tree and my produce and my fruit. And so I'm using things to deter the termites from coming through and destroy the termites that are there. And also, I'm using something to protect the plants from attack from other insects that may go inside of the plants. Okay. So even though I may have applied these things 2 weeks ago, it doesn't mean I get immediate results. And I want you to understand that. Just because we say everything is reversible doesn't mean it's immediately reversible. And a lot of us rush the process. It's a process, right? We come on this earth and we're ever becoming, we're ever growing. So it's a process. It's always going to be a process. It always was a process. Okay. So understand these things. That's all I got to say for now. And let's get into the boxing. Once again, the link is right there in the chat section. If you want to hop on StreamYard and you want to chop it up with me, about Jamel Charlo versus Brian Castaño. And believe you me, these guys, what they put into their training, what they put into their preparation is what we saw on fight night. That's what we saw on fight night. And I want you guys to understand that this was an excellent fight. Tactically, action-wise, defense and defensive skills and offensive skill-wise, this was high-speed chess, okay, between two really skilled, really top-tier fighters. And for those of you who haven't seen this fight, I advise you to go back and watch it 3 to 4 times before you actually say anything on it, because there's a lot of stuff that was going on in this fight, and I just want to break it down for you guys. And we're going to have a good time breaking it down. We're going to have a great time celebrating what boxing really is about. And this is what boxing is about. Okay? So let's start off with the two combatants. We had Jamel Charlo, who most people thought was going to run through Castaño. Okay? I don't know why. They thought he was going to stop him somehow. I don't know why they thought that, but they thought that. Okay? That proved to be absolutely and incontrovertibly false. I told you guys, I even did a video telling you that Castaño's no joke, and that Brian Castaño Jamel Charlo's not knocking out Castaño. I literally told you guys that. I said I don't know how the fight will end. I can't pick a winner. I think it's a 50-50 fight, because I thought about how Jamel fights. I thought about how Castaño fights, their styles, and I was like, I can't pick a winner. And weirdly enough, the results reflected that, what I said, which is, amazing. Shout out to my brother Leroy Kong, showing some love here. Leroy Kong comes from another channel. He comes from my other channel, which has to do with movies. And of course, I always talk about God on that as well. So shout out to you, Leroy Kong. If you want to hop on here, talk about boxing, if you enjoy boxing, that is, feel free to come on to this feed. So, as I was saying before, and to hop on, just click on this link here, which is in the chat section. So, 2 boxing events. I couldn't predict who would win. I really couldn't, because I was thinking about Castaño's fight against particularly Erislan Dilar, where I thought Brian Castaño won that fight. Against Jamel Charlo, the fight was very competitive. It was a lot of chess going on. And for me to break down what was going on round by round, as coach, the great coach Eric Bradley, shout out to Coach Eric Bradley, Master of Boxing. Salute to you, sir. I really love his channel. I also like Troy Killertainment. Shout out to Troy Killertainment. Again, I know Troy sometimes watches my videos. Again, another boxing savant, a guy who actually boxes. These two men know what they're talking about. I just wanted to say to them, salute to you guys. I want to give a tremendous salute out right now to Coach Barry Robinson. Coach Barry Robinson changed my whole perspective on how boxing is. He brought to light what actually happens in the ring and how much there is nuance and things that you don't see as a casual fan in boxing. And so I just wanted to share that with you. Salute to Coach Barry Robinson. Okay. I just want to give a shout out to a couple other coaches out there. Coach Anthony, again, giving us the nuances of boxing, talking about boxing, talking about the sort of spiritual, emotional, and physical aspects of boxing, and the dedication and the commitment to daily committing oneself to a sport. It is amazing, and this is what gets me all riled up to do boxing. Leroy Kong says, I do not look my best right now. I'm cleaning up my room. That's okay, bro. That's okay. So we're talking boxing, right? Again, if you are in the area, if you're watching this video right now and it's live for you, you can hop on here. I know different people will hop on at a certain point in time. Hop on here and participate in the stream as a guest, or you can do like Leroy Kong and chat in the chat section. It doesn't matter. I enjoy your feedback. And this channel is for you. It's for what you need. We're going through. So Oh man. Okay, let's start off with this fight. Let's talk about game plans first of all. Brian Castaño is a fighter who mostly fights at mid-range to inside. Okay, he really wants to get close to you and fight you. Another fighter who was something like that, but a lot more sloppier, was Carlos Molina. Carlos Molina, 154-pound Carlos Molina, that is. He was a scrapper, but he also had really good. He was able to slip punches. He was able to find those holes in the defense and slide in through those holes, and he would do his thing on the inside. It was like he could fight on the outside, he could fight on the inside. Another fighter who's something like that, he's not as good, is Josecito Lopez. Josecito Lopez is another fighter who throw a lot of combinations and stuff. He can find those gaps, he can find those holes, and he can drill it. But his defense is not as good as, say, a Carlos Molina. And then the premier of all premiers, the guy who really got some really tight ass defense is Brian Castaño. His defense is incredible. It's an impeccable. It's an incredible, and the fact that he comes forward with it. And I'm going to explain a lot of stuff as we go along here. You guys are going to understand why I said Brian Castaño. He's like, Brian's a lot more aggressive than Canelo. He's a lot more aggressive than Canelo. But Brian does a lot of things that Canelo does, but he does it at a higher level. I think I can't tell you how much praise I get to Brian Castaño. I understand why he beat Errol Spence in the amateurs, why he beat Sergey Derevyanchenko in the amateurs. This guy can fight anybody, almost any weight of person. He could probably fight all the way up if he wanted to. He could fight all the way up to super middleweight. This guy really has the tools to be able to take apart any kind of defense, and really put down a tremendous performance. This guy can do it all. He can box on the outside. He can box on the back foot. He can box on the front foot. And he really gives you so many different things. There's so many facets to this game. So I'm going to go into that in detail. I'm try not to expose everything right now. But if I were to cut to the chase, Brian Castaño gave Jamel Charlo about 5 or 6 different looks, right? He changed 5 or 6 different looks as he's approaching him, okay? And then he throws in these feints. I'm going to talk to you guys again about something I call precise footwork. Precise footwork is something where, one, you're using virtual distancing. That is, you may be further away or closer to a person than they think you are. Canelo likes to lean in a lot. Brian Castaño, he keeps on the back foot, so he's inching in with the front foot. We saw Tank do the same thing. And Brian Castaño, that's what he was doing. So why Jamel Charlo couldn't predict when Brian Castaño was going to attack or not is because he was feinting his attacks. One, he was feinting entry points. His head's always off center line, and he's always shifting head slots. He's also giving Jamel Charlo different looks. He'll give you this look. He'll give you this look, right? He'll give you this look. He shows the face. He'll lean back, okay? All right, and he'll do it all very quickly. He'll give you a wide stance. He'll crouch down low. He'll change levels on you. All of this he's doing on the outside as he's about to enter, right? And he's feinting entry points. Then he may throw a jab. Marcos Maidana, they do the same kind of jab, a low to high. So Brian Castaño, he keeps low. When you are a shorter fighter, Brian Castaño was 5'7" with a 67-inch reach, okay? He didn't have reach advantage. He didn't have height advantage, okay? He doesn't even have power advantage, okay? So how is a guy like that pushing back a taller fighter? Not only is he pushing him back, but he's also getting into the pocket with him and landing his trademark punches. It's because he's using feints, a lot of feints, and precise footwork. He's coming in off a certain kind of angle. After the fight, they were talking about, what would they do for the rematch? Because, of course, this fight ended in a draw. What are they going to do in the rematch that's different? They need to talk about defense. They need to tighten up on their defense. One, not come straight in down the center, but actually come off of an angle. And two, the other thing he talked about was that he would need to tighten up on certain things, like his speed and his quickness, coming to the inside, sliding to the inside. So Brian Castaño does what is called a slip and slide shift sort of attack, okay? He can shift, he can slip and slide, and he gets to the inside and then uses short, compact punches on the inside. Left hooks to the body, right hooks up top. All right, he throws a lot of hooks. And then he comes back, he goes to the outside by pivoting off to his right and throwing the jab to make sure he keeps the distance. Jamel Charlo used some brilliant counter tactics. One of the things that Jamel Charlo was consistently trying to use, besides dipping and getting underneath the shots, was he also was using his jab. He was using his jab to try and disrupt. So once Castaño looked like he was coming in, he would pop that jab. Now Castaño, he would feint so much that Jamel would be throwing the jab. And you can't throw the jab too regularly because then Castaño is basically watching to see how you react. And if you're just throwing a jab, he's going to get past your jab. He's going to slip past your jab, and he's going to have something for you. Okay? So when taking away a jab from someone, Castaño didn't quite take away Jamel Charlo. He took away Jamel Charlo's jab at certain points because what he was doing was he was slipping to the inside and he was feinting like he was going to throw a spear jab and instead threw a straight overhand right that would catch Jamel Charlo on his head. So there's all these little tricks and all these little things that was going on in the fight. And we got to talk about it like in great detail and break it down because these guys were playing high-level chess and they were also making adjustments to each other all the time throughout the fight. Now, the first time Jamel Charlo actually hurt Brian Castaño, Brian Castaño actually blocked the punch with his guard, but Jamel was throwing with such heat that the guard of Castaño hit him in his own head, and he literally got woozy with that. Okay, so it wasn't his defense wasn't on point. Maybe he should have dipped and went underneath the shot. But it was that Jamel Charlo just punches so damn hard that even when you block the shot, you can still hurt yourself, right? And it just goes to the point that you can hurt a guy even though he's blocking punches, which is why it's not always useful and sensible to block punches. Now, Brian Castaño was defensively responsible. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Brian Castaño first. The game plan for Brian Castaño, get in close, get in tight, work the body, work the head, break him down, right? Jamel Charlo's game plan was to try to keep Castaño at bay with the jab as much as possible. Once on the inside, he's going to try and roll under and slip under punches and then counter. So he was trying to either catch and shoot or slip and counter and spin out so he's not get up against the ropes. But Castaño was so brilliant, he knew how to get Jamel Charlo into the corner and then pick him apart and then crash him. So there's a lot to this fight. It was a cat and mouse game. The guys were doing several different things that made the fight very interesting for me and entertaining. And it was also a fight in which there was an explosive burst between both fighters on each other. And Castaño would throw combinations. Jamel would get... Now, first of all, there's a couple of things I want to say. The first one is Castaño was the aggressor throughout almost this entire fight. Okay? How effective was his aggression? Was pretty effective. Okay? Pretty effective aggression. However, let it be known, I want to just make it abundantly clear, Jamel Charlo had decent defense. He was not getting caught clean with any particular shot. There were times when he got caught clean with the left hook, for example, in round 3. He got caught clean with the overhand rights that Castaño would throw. Sometimes he get caught with another left hook, But for the most part, he wasn't, for most of the money shots, he wasn't getting caught clean with them, okay? Castaño landed some really nasty body shots in this fight. So did Jamel, actually, in certain rounds. But for the most part, Jamel Charlo was evading a lot of those shots, okay? But Castaño was still landing, don't get me wrong. In fact, okay, here's the thing. Jamel was more on defense than he wanted to be in this fight, okay? So that what happened was Castaño was the aggressor. He was the effective aggressor because he was limiting Jamel Charlo to not being able to throw as much punches. He was more on the defense, trying to get out of the way of punches a lot in this fight. And so as a result of that, he was busy occupied trying to react to Castaño. Castaño was dictating the pace of the fight. He was the guy in control of the fight for the most part. In 10th and 11th, he was on the defense. But for the most part, in 12th, he regained back his thing because he made an adjustment. So Castaño is a problem for anybody in any division. He just wasn't the A side. He was a foreigner coming to the country. I personally thought that Castaño won the fight. I said 8-4. It could be 9-3, but I think it's about 8-4. I thought Castaño won the fight, just like I thought he won the Erislandy Lara fight. I think he was dictating the pace. I think he was the guy that was dictating the fight, where the fight was taking place. Jamal Charlo had to react to him. Don't get me wrong, Jamal Charlo was equal to the task in the sense that I was wondering how would Jamal Charlo survive or be able to get through Castaño's onslaught, because Castaño's is a problem, okay? And he did quite well. He did quite well. And you know, it wasn't Castaño didn't walk all over him. He was getting caught with some really nasty shots, um, really flush too. But just he had a hell of a chin. He's tough. He's big. So he took the punches better than when he actually hit Castaño. Now there were 3 times in the fight I can remember openly where Castaño was hurt. Second round, when Charlo caught him with the right hand, he did block the shot, but his hand hit into his head, and it seemed as though it wobbled him, and so he was hurt there. The other time was in, I believe, round 10. I think round 10, I think he got hurt. That was the worst he got hurt, actually, in the fight. And he still weathered the storm, and he used his boxing skills to move around the ring and just, keep space between himself and Charles. So it showed that he could box, right? He didn't only fight off the front foot, which was good. Um, and he still, would catch Charlo in between as well, because he also is a counterpuncher. So, Castaño, Charlo significantly hurt Castaño. Now, Castaño hurt Charlo in round 3 with a body shot. Okay, it was a headshot and a body shot. It was left hook, a double left hook, I think, or something like that. And Charlo was visibly hurt by it. He went into he dipped down into a ball. Um, and there were a couple other times when Castaño also rocked Charlo. He didn't particularly hurt him, but he rocked him. And of course, there were certain times when he just flushly hit him. He got hit flush, like blah, and his head would just snap around. And so Castaño would mix it up. His jabs, he would feint like it's going to the head and go to the body. Jamal also was throwing some body jabs, and he threw some shots to the body. Not enough body shots by Jamal because he was busy again, occupied, and Castaño stays low. So it's kind of hard. He was trying to read Castaño to be able to counter him later on in the fight. And he was starting to get into the fight. But Castaño swept the early rounds, Castaño swept almost all of them. Okay. It was somewhere around round 8 that Jamal Charlo was really starting to come back into the fight. His trainer, Coach Derek James, he was telling him, man, you behind on the cards, man. You need to pick it up. You need to stop this guy, right? Because Coach Derek James was listening to the unofficial scorecard, or he got information about that, so he was saying to pick it up, which was good because Charlo actually picked it up. Charlo is the bigger, I think, stronger guy, but the way how Castaño was doing stuff. Now, Castaño was sharp early on in the fight, but then as the fight kind of went on, he wasn't as sharp. And so he needs to work on his conditioning a little bit more so he can be sharper. But for the most part, Castaño took a lot of the earlier rounds. Okay. I think he took, I'm definitely know he took round 1. He took round 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I had him sweeping all those rounds. And I think Charlo came into the fight in round 10, rounds 10, 11. And then Castaño took round 12, in my opinion. So that's where I get the 8-4. 10, 11, and then 2. Actually, it's 9-3. So Castaño definitely beat Jamal Charlo. Now, was it a robbery? I mean, you can get a swing up about, I think, 1 or 2 rounds. You can call them sort of swing rounds. Not really, because Charlo wasn't throwing enough. He was throwing his jab to try and keep Castaño off, but the guy who was landing was Castaño. Castaño was landing a lot more regularly than Charlo was landing, for example. So in all those rounds, why I gave them to Castaño, while Charlo, if he would have hit Castaño, if he was actually to land something, he was much more effective. The problem is Castaño protects his body and his head so well. He can be up here, and then he can pick you down here. He can just start picking you off here. He also rides punches. He also rolls punches. So it's kind of hard to really hurt Castaño. Castaño needs to know how to ride punches a little bit better with his head. I saw Gervonta Davis knows how to do that. And you should probably look at Canelo, learn how to ride punches so that if, Charlo actually wings something really heavy, it wouldn't stun him so much. Instead of blocking the punch, sometimes you just need to ride the punch and come back with something. You know what I mean? Um, the left hooks by Castaño were just devastating. It really hurt Charlo. Charlo got hurt a couple of times in this fight as well. But what I mean by the chess game and the adjustments that these guys made in the fight, what made the fight very interesting was the fact that this chess game that they were playing, um, they kept on changing up different things. So, for example, Castaño got clipped blocking a shot because he was too close in to Charlo, and Charlo was able to, he was at the right range to just really lay it on, right? And so Castaño, what he did, instead when he throws shots, he would dip down, he would roll under. So if he threw a lead right, he would roll under. If he threw a jab, sometimes he would jab down low. He'd jab off the back foot, or sometimes he'd spare jab. He'd come in with a shotgun jab, and a jab up in. Then he goes off to the side and spare jab. And then he can use that as a feint to throw the lead right. So Charlo's constantly guessing. He was all offbeat. Charlo wondered why he didn't put the heat on Castaño in round 12. Because Castaño went back to feinting. Sometimes you feint a guy to get him out of position, and then you can land your punches. And then Castaño was a lot more sharper. It seems like Castaño took rounds 10, 11, I think another round was round 8, one of them off. And he was just kind of recouping and just kind of, he still putting pressure, but he was trying to conserve his energy for the later round. And I just think that those are the moments where Charlo sort of switched the game around a little bit. But Charlo, to his credit, he changed up his game. He made adjustments. When he realized that Castaño was always pushing forward, he decided, I'm going to use the jab, keep the stick, keep him outside with the stick, and push him back. So he was able to do that somewhat with a counter, and then he pushed him back, and that's when in round 10, he started landing those body shots because he caught him with it was a headshot, a left hook to the head. I think he caught him flush with that one. And that's what hurt Castaño the most. But you can see Castaño gives you different looks. He can give you what we call the turtle shell, something Archie Moore was very good at doing, which is this. Okay? You catching uppercuts and stuff. You got this. So you can do it like this. All right? And then you got, of course, the the half guard, and then you got the two guard, okay? And he would do it at different distances. What I mean by that is, Castaño, sometimes he lean back this way, and he's here with the guard. But sometimes he's actually here because he dipped low and he's doing this. So he's different distances in space. And that's all of those things. This is what makes Castaño so difficult because he's feinting coming in. You throw something, he's ready to counter you, and then he's ready to pounce on you. He's different places in space. When you think you threw a punch, he slips it and he's in on you. It's all these things. So Charlo had to deal with all of that. So by facing Castaño, and there's certain things Castaño does repeatedly that Charlo picked up on, and he was able to make the adjustment. So when Castaño would keep coming in, he would try and throw that sharp left hook to the body. So he decided to start doing a little bit of body work. And I suggest Charlo should have done a little bit more body work. Of course, Castaño started to make adjustment to that, and he would keep his guard low as he kept himself low, so he could protect his body much more easily. And he always, he does these little shifts to the side, and so he could come in off of this weird angle. So he'd be shifted off here, and he's throwing a punch, but it's off an angle. So if I lean in this way, for example, I'm coming in off of this angle here on you. You see what I'm saying? That's a weird angle. And that's Castaño did. And sometimes Castaño would actually step around and come in off an angle. I wish he had done that a little bit more. Charlo would step with him, but Charlo, like I said before, he started pushing Castaño back a little bit. And he was also feinting with his jab. He would feint like he's going to throw the jab and then throw the jab. So they started mixing it up and changing their timing a little bit. They started changing their feints. Of course, Charlo would still step around with Castaño, sometimes pick him. Sometimes Charlo's there set to throw the right hand. So he's watching the Castaño, because if Castaño's trying to close the distance, even if he's low, he's going to offload the right hand to let Castaño know, you ain't just making this real estate just like that. So it was all of those brilliant little things that they were doing. Besides riding punches on the rope. Charlo's not comfortable on the ropes, clearly. He doesn't know how to ride punches, roll punches, But he still did pretty well in that he knew how to step around Castaño, get off the ropes, wheel off the ropes, and keep going. Castaño was cutting off the ring very, very well as well. So it was a lot of tit for tat, a lot of, okay, I see what you did there. I saw Charlo smile a couple of times when Castaño caught him with certain shots, and he made an adjustment from that. Then he tried to bait Castaño in to counter him, but Castaño, again, Castaño feints so much. Sometimes Castaño does this if he's going to come in, and so he makes you trigger as if you're going to throw something, and then he would come with something. You know what I mean? So Castaño is just like very, very tricky. He's very, very difficult. He's very, very intentional. Very, very simple. Um, I can't say how much of a beast Castaño really is, and he's a problem for everyone in the division. He's basically beaten unofficially, in my opinion, two of the best super welterweights that there are out there. He beat Erislandy Lara. You guys can go watch that fight too. And I thought he beat Lara again. And he beat Jamel Charlo, in my opinion. Um, these are the two best. These are the two best super welterweights in the division. This guy has training that's. I mean, this guy's his defense is incredible. Um, if he had gotten caught flush at any time by Jamel Charlo, really, he would have been out of there. I mean, he had a chin too. Don't get me wrong, he's got a chin, but his defense is just incredible. I mean, it's impeccable defense, and he's a problem. Okay, he's a serious problem. He's more of an infighter. He's not really an outboxer, but he knows how to get to the inside, and he knows like I said, precise footwork. You're stepping in, but you're feinting. As you're stepping in, you're feinting. As you're stepping in, it's going to go here, you're going to go there. And you're pushing your opponent back as you get his real estate. You push him to the ropes, and then you feint, boom, and then you explode, right? And kudos to Jamel, though, on kind of not getting hit with a lot of those punches. Again, when in doubt, dip low. So you get low. You get low, below the punches. That's what Jamel Charlo did. That's what Castaño was doing as well. And that's why this fight was so engaging and so interesting. Uh, I am what you need. If anybody wants to come through and talk, you got 10 minutes to talk. And then after that, I'm going to wrap it up right here. But I really enjoyed this fight. It was like a chess match. There was a certain point where both guys were trying to play chess with each other. They were really seriously playing chess. Charlo was moving off the ropes. Castaño was following him and cutting him off. But at the same time, they wasn't just jumping in on each other. They were feinting each other. Even in the 12th round, it was really interesting how Castaño and Charlo were dealing with each other. You could see this, they're playing games with each other. They're playing the chess match. Um, so that's why I really loved it. And Charlo did an excellent job in this fight, even though I didn't have him winning. And there was a draw, actually, ultimately, in the end. Of course, the judges' scorecard, who had it at 117, 111 for Charlo, I don't know what he was watching. I think everybody doesn't. We don't quite understand or grasp what he was looking at. But he may have been factoring in the defense of Charlo, but you have to still be looking at Charlo only because in this fight, Castaño outlanded Charlo clearly, and he wasn't using jabs. It was like power shots, right? And I mean, he caught him with one or two jabs, but mostly power shots. And the thing about that is, while Charlo, um, I think, might have hit Castaño with uh, much more cleaner, more effective punches whenever he did catch him, which was very rare. Actually, round 10 is the only place where he really actually caught Castaño, to be honest with you. Castaño blocked the other ones. It's just Charlo, he just hit so hard. But nonetheless, because Charlo, uh, you know, because he didn't throw many more effective punches. I mean, his jab was pretty good to keep Castaño at bay at times. You know, he made an adjustment with that, and how he pivoted around was really good. How he wheeled out of situations and dipped under situations was very good. It shows his pedigree. He really is a great, great savant boxer. This guy can really box. But Castaño was the guy that was actually landing more, and he was very effective at landing. And I think that because of that, when you're looking at aggressor and you got aggressor and you got the other guy on defense, right? The aggressor is getting the guy to go to the real estate he wants, and also landing his power shots, his effective shots on the other guy. He doesn't have as much power as the other guy, but he's landing really crisp, hard shots. You've got to give those rounds to the aggressor, especially when the aggressor is much more active and landing crisp power shots that are actually, you know, rocking or hurting the other opponent. You have to factor that in. So that's why um, most of those rounds I swept was because Castaño won for me was because he was the effective aggressor. He was doing what he wanted to do. He was fighting his kind of fight. While Jamel was elusive to some degree, Castaño was landing body punches and head punches. He was getting Jamel Charlo was getting caught in trades. So and Jamel was doing a great job with the jab. Don't get me wrong, but not good enough because Castaño still would not be denied. You know, and that's what was interesting to me in this fight. But he did have sufficient power to keep Castaño at least making adjustments as to how he would enter the pocket. So I really enjoyed that. You can't sleep on Charlo though, and Castaño realized that when he was really like he was just tearing into Charlo, throwing a lot of combinations. Charlo caught him with a shot. He counterpunched him, caught him with a shot, and that's what stunned him in the 10th. Castaño was basically in control of the fight in the 10th. So that's what I got on what you need. I hope you guys enjoyed this little breakdown. Uh, some of the adjustments that happened, like I said before, had to do with timing, how guys would feint before they do certain things, and then the evasive maneuvers they had afterwards. And Charlo also had evasive movements. Like he threw a jab or he threw a right hand, he would roll under. They basically do the same things. Castaño would do the same. You know, if he threw a jab, he would step. If Castaño did 2 steps forward, he did 2 steps backward to maintain range. Castaño, to make that, would dip low and he would step and shift to get into Charlo much quicker. Um, Sometimes he step around Charlo to get the angle. So there's all of these little things these guys were doing in there that showed me that they were defensively responsible in what they were doing. And it was just a fantastic fight. By and large, I really was impressed with this fight. This was something I would love to see again. I would love to see what kind of adjustments these two fighters come up with. But these styles are just like the host was saying, they're just made for each other. This is something that could go. This could be a trilogy even. You know, if Castaño was to win, like say, uh, the next fight, maybe they could have a trilogy. You know, because it's about what you come up with. Do you have an answer for the other guy? Now Jamel, he was behind on the scorecards, but very well could have stopped Castaño. You know, and they were saying he could press in the 12th, but Castaño had changed up the script again, and he was feinting and doing certain things that kept Charlo on the back foot. You know, Derek James was saying overpower him, but that's not easy to do because if a guy catches you in between as you're trying to overpower him, then Jamal Charlo, the tables could turn. Jamal Charlo could be like Castaño now hurt. You know, so it was that kind of tricky fight. It was really a good fight. Castaño felt like he was robbed. I understand what he's saying. I don't think it was a robbery. I think one of the judges' scorecards was whack as hell. That 117, 111 was ridiculous. But I don't think it was a robbery in the sense that the fight was very competitive. It was very competitive. And it's not about what you like per se. I mean, I thought that Castaño won the rounds, like I said, because of his effective aggression. I thought that he was landing more punches and he was the aggressor. And so I thought he was the effective aggressor. But some people may be looking at how Charlo, for example, in round 10 was very explosive with his punches and caught Castaño and hurt Castaño. And you have to look at that as well. Who's the guy who's actually hurting the other guy? Effective aggression also has to do with that. So in round 2, you know, you hurt Castaño, and that round 2, the judges may have weighed it differently and said, okay, this is what Charlo can do. Of course, you're going into a fight. Sometimes you have a bias. You're like, oh, this guy's going to get rid of that dude. Blue Blood Sports Stevie didn't realize how good Castaño was. I knew because I remember his fight with Sandy Lara, and he beat Lara as well. And unofficially, in my book, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. It's not facts. The facts are there was a draw like this fight. But I just think that the guy coming across the seas and, you know, being a foreigner and not really well known, and it was Charlo's promotion and all of that. I think that gave Charlo the break that he needed. I mean, because I thought, and a lot of people think it's a robbery. I wouldn't say it's a robbery. I understand why people would say that because, like I said, I got it 9-3, 8-4. But, you know, sometimes you could say, well, I think Charlo, man, his power, though, his power. And we were watching for that. And, you know, Castaño wasn't hitting him that consistent. He wasn't like hitting him with every single punch. You know, he couldn't miss a punch. It wasn't like that. He also had defense. He was also trying to keep range and pivot around the ring. So, because Charlo had a certain degree of effectiveness, you could kind of like, okay, let's see where Charlo gets his power. So you may be kind of over anticipating and giving certain rounds to Charlo, which really Castaño rounds, you know, because Charlo was in there. He was a live dog. He was doing his thing. And so I kind of get it. I, but I just don't think that this fight deserved to be a draw, in my personal opinion. Some people will be content with that. Some people will be cool with that. Actually, Boxing Beast and Ryan thought that Charlo won the fight. I don't agree with his logic. He was explaining why he thought so, but I didn't agree with him. But that's besides the point. The fact that he thought that Charlo won the fight, obviously he probably had a bias towards Charlo to begin with. But the fact that he thought Charlo won the fight is something that, again, there you go. So that's why probably ended up being a draw. But I didn't think that Charlo won this fight. And like I said before, this is a fight you want to watch multiple times. And I went to dot my I's, cross my T's, and I can't give Charlo this fight. Just Castaño was landing much more than Charlo was per round in the fight. Even the round where Charlo hurt Castaño really bad, Castaño was actually landing more on Charlo. He was having success, and Charlo then counterpunched him, and that round shifted, you know. But if you put more weight on round 10 and 11 and 2, then you do say the other rounds, and then you think about round 2 and what Charlo was capable of doing, and you're kind of looking out for that, and Charlo's not getting hit really. You know, he's kind of getting hit, but he's not really getting hit. He's like avoiding much of the big shots. I can see why somebody could be thinking down those lines. Well, okay, Charlo's going to hit him with something big, and that'll change everything. So, and Charlo was having some success with his jab. Sometimes he catches Castaño with the jab, but very rarely. I mean, you look at it. Charlo came out of the fight with his face clean. Castaño came out of the fight with his face clean. These guys had supreme defense. Even I gotta say, Charlo even himself impressed me because he had really good defense as well. Both of them had really good defense. That's what made this fight. This is an old school fight with a new school vibe. Guys a lot sharper, much quicker, a lot stronger. But at the same time, both of them had really good defense. I would say Castaño had better defense in the sense that he was picking off almost everything that Charlo was throwing at him, and then two, that Charlo himself, he was getting caught a lot more, but he could afford to get caught a lot more because he hit harder. And so when Castaño, even if Castaño did the right thing and he got caught, it could daze him. Now Castaño was in ridiculous conditioning, which is why obviously he made it through the 10th round particularly. I think that's where he got really buzzed really bad. But again, he had the presence of mind to know what to do and so on. Kind of remember Devin Haney, how he clinched up a little bit and then how he would block the punches but still be on wobbly legs, sort of like. But he's sound. His core was really sound, so that he was able to weather that storm and recoup through the 11th round, and then in the 12th really put on a close the show kind of thing. He finished the show strong, and Charlo was the one backing up and getting hit with punches. And they were really, they were trading bombs at a certain point, but again, trading bombs intelligently. If I'm going to really rock you with a shot, I'm going to go low and rock you like that. So they were dipping and throwing, dipping and throwing, and that was beautiful because that's what you want to do. Shout out to Poobie Sistrunk, man. What's up? Why are people hating on Charlo? I don't know, bro. Charlo did a great job. Castaño is not no easy opponent, clearly. I think people don't value Brian Castaño. That's the thing. And he brings his A game every single time. He fights really well. He just doesn't get the judge's decision all the time. If you've got the A side and B side. So the A side guy was Erislandy Lara when Castaño faced Lara. Everybody knew Lara. Nobody knew Brian Castaño. So when Castaño was really bringing the heat on Lara and Lara was responding, Lara was still responding. Don't get me wrong, but he was getting tagged up. Castaño was doing a number on him. People still gave that fight a draw. And I always thought that Carlos Molina beat Erislandy Lara as well. Carlos Molina is another very difficult style, very difficult fighter. He got weaker as he went into Mexico, and he's been kind of slugging out. He's out of shape now. But Carlos Molina is a hell of a fighter as well. Okay, not as clean. He's more sloppy than say Brian Castaño, but he's a hell of a fighter. Okay, James Kirkland fight, for example, where they stopped the fight. Carlos Molina is a hell of a fighter. And Brian Castaño is a hell of a fighter, but he's less instinctual. He's literally intentional about what he's doing. He does use a lot more feints and stuff. I'm just saying, Brian Castaño is a hell of a fighter. Canelo styling, Javante Davis styling, Devin Haney styling. This guy comes from that school of thought, but he puts the pressure on you. That doesn't mean he can't take a step back. He can't box off the back foot and stuff. But his boxing savantism is just brilliant. And I love that he uses the turtle shell. What they call what do they call it? George Foreman used it. Archie Moore. That's an old school stuff that he brought into a new school setting with the sharpness and the angles and everything. So it just really was fantastic what Castaño did. Castaño, I give high praise to Castaño because I knew that this was the kind of fighter that we were looking at. I knew this was not going to be an easy night for Charlo, and it really wasn't. But Charlo also impressed me with not just his defense, but also his smarts. How he understood what he was doing and what he needed to do at certain points in time. And he thought he won the fight. I don't think that Charlo won that fight. I don't agree with Charlo on that one. But he did exceptionally well. It was a chess match, and kudos to him. And he earned his draw. Castaño, didn't earn his draw. He really won the fight, but it's okay. It was a competitive fight. It was a chess match. It wasn't just guys going in there and throwing bombs. It wasn't just guys saying, I want to get you back. No, it was very tactical. And this is the difference between boxing today, in today's world, and boxing of yesteryear. And this is what guys don't understand. They talk to Sugar Leonard and they try to show strategies and tactics. No, this guy want to get each other back immediately. But Castaño and Charlo, they were tactically going at each other, tactically, all the way through. It was very tactical battle, tactical war. And it was about getting that angle, threading that angle, setting this guy up for something later and stuff like that. So it was very. I really enjoyed this fight. It was a fantastic fight. I don't care. I want to see it again. Charlo showed me he can handle a very, very difficult swarmer / boxer type. This was high level chess. This was not, this is not even like those throwback fights. Not even like Lamarda versus Sugar Ray Robinson. This is better than that. You know what I mean? And it's sad because people today don't appreciate boxing like that. And this was a unification fight. And the politics was that, people probably knew Castaño won, but they didn't want all the belts to go back to Argentina or whatever. So the politics probably played into or something. I don't know what happened, but and it's okay. It's okay because Castaño is going to get his rematch. And all you got to do is get the rematch. So, okay, we're going to do it again. And if I whoop your ass, y'all need to give me my belts, right? And that's it. So I really love it. I hope Charlo takes on the challenge again. I hope he improves and makes some adjustments. I hope Castaño comes with something new as well and tightens up his game a little bit more. Some of the things that these both guys, adjustments that they can make in the future for Charlo, one of the things he can do, because he did it once or twice in the fight, is you want to not just stick and move. You want to also pivot around the guy. Now, I know, so think about it this way. You want to make short, quick steps. Now, Charlo doesn't really make short, quick steps, but you want to kind of shorten up your steps and you want to shorten up your punches for the inside work. So you want to make a quick step to your right or a quick step to your left, and that'll open up the angle really quickly. And then you can do whatever you want. Throw your left hook, throw your whatever. So that's one of the things Charlo needs to do. Castaño's got a lot of things going on. So I can't really say Castaño needs to make tremendous adjustments, but here's one of the adjustments he needs to do. One of the things you need to do is, like when you're trading left hooks, you need to dip down. So dip your head as you're throwing. So throw an overhand left hook more than try to throw, just a left hook, or throw a left hook to the body, but dip. You dip with your left hook. So that's how guys get caught with left hooks. And if you dip, you probably get more force and power in your shots. So this is one of the things I think for the guy. So when you're trading left hooks, you won't get caught with a left hook because you're dipping as you throw the left hook. Or you can feint like you want to dip, throw the left hook, and the guy throws the left hook, and you come over the top with the right instead and catch him as he's throwing the left hook. The Charlo got hit with some hellacious shots, and the dude still stood up. Right, he got caught with a left hook flush, and he like, I mean, he dipped one time, and that's what you do. Defensively, you dip, you go low when that happens, and you cover up your whole body. Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, they dip and they go low, right? You cover up everything. So I'm just saying, Floyd Mayweather the same thing, but he dipped to the side and cover up everything, right? So just something for these guys to know. But both boxing savants, I don't think none of those guys will ever knock out each other. That's not happening. Charlo's never going to knock out Castaño. Castaño's never going to knock out Charlo, but they can still win the fight. And a lot of people knew that if this fight went the distance, Castaño should have won it. And truthfully, he should have. But, I mean, it's boxing. I love the performances by both guys. It was very entertaining. Castaño felt he was robbed. Charlo felt that he should have won. Okay, cool. So it kind of shows kind of like in a way that the draw was kind of sensible in a sort of way. So I'm not mad at the draw. Okay, I don't think the fight was a robbery. I'm not mad at the draw, but I do think that Castaño won this one. That's how I look at it. The Erislandy Lara fight, same thing. I thought Castaño won more rounds than Jermell Charlo did. But when Jermell Charlo won a round, he won it big. All right, so that's basically it. All right, peoples. So what you need in the building, we'll catch you guys later. If you guys want to talk anything else right now boxing, I'm going to try and get another thing. I thought you guys would hop on the stream, but nobody hopped on the stream. That's okay. We'll have another time. You can also donate to my channel via Western Union MoneyGram. We will be picking it up, and we'll be doing more. So stay tuned. I'm going to catch you guys later on what you need. Peace.